So we are here. It is test day. We are going to make one more soap today and test this soap plus the other three we've made this week. And it's going to be awesome. We're going to be testing for the bubble. We're going to be testing for the hand feel. We're going to be testing for the slip, the cleanliness. Is it too drying? Is it moisturizing? All of the things. That's happening today. And I'm going to tell you more about it in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you're here for the final day of the coffee soap series. Final-ish. I really do want to move on to cosmetics, and I think with all of this, we all have a really good working knowledge of ways that we can incorporate coffee into our soaps in awesome and skin-loving ways, except for this one way that we're showing you today, which is going to be obviously coffee lye solution, yes, but using ground coffee and then leaving the ground coffee, not straining it out, and leaving it as the exfoliant. And we're going to talk about the pros and or cons with that. Because you would think that there might be cons. Leaving something that sat in a lye solution in your soap, and then using it. So we're going to talk about all of that. And we're going to do the test. So that's kind of a lot to do. So let's get to the video so we can do all of those things. So today we are going to do this with coffee the way that I like doing it, the best. I can't believe we have not talked about coffee as exfoliant yet. And so that's what we are going to do. And we are going to use it in the same way that we used the coffee yesterday, which is to say we're just putting a teeny tiny amount, so 1 tablespoon directly into the lye solution. But we're going to be cuckoo bananas and weird with this one, because what we are going to do after, obviously, we're going to get the brewed coffee from the grounds that are inside the lye solution, because the heat of the exothermic reaction between the water and the lye is going to facilitate that, much like you would, get from your coffee pot, except obviously don't drink this. What we are not going to do is strain this out. So we are going to leave the coffee grounds inside of the actual soap itself in the batter. So we get a scrubby bar in addition to, all of the coffee benefits, things. Now, the reason why I'm doing this, I want to be a good citizen here and tell you first and foremost, if you want exfoliants in your soaps, I think you should totally just put the coffee grounds in afterwards, after the batter is hit, after you've hit your emulsion with your soap batters or a trace of some sort. I really do think you could just do that, because it's the fresh grounds and it's all that. I just think you should do that. But I wanted to see what would happen with all of it if I didn't do that and I didn't strain out anything from the lye solution. Because I have put weird stuff into my lye solution a whole bunch of times, like super weird things. And most of the time, anytime there's any sort of solid within my lye solution, I strain. And not most of the time, 100% of the time, And so if there's any residual anything, I strain that out because it's been sitting with the lye in the water. Now, and that's why I do it. But when I was thinking about it, I was like, what would actually happen if you used the coffee grounds that were in the lye, that were soaking up in that lye? Would you end up with like lye heavy pockets within your soap? And once you actually start thinking about that and get beyond the kind of ick factor of it, no, logically, it totally makes sense. You would not get any of the lye attached to the coffee, because the lye is only interested in one thing. It's not going to get sidetracked. It's not going to like go off on some weird squirrel, thing because it saw something else that's interesting and attached to the coffee instead of the actual water, because it doesn't like being unhappy. It wants to be happy, and water is what's going to make it that way. So no, I do not believe that there's a problem in doing this at all. That said, I mean, it's just a tablespoon of coffee. Just put it in after you hit an emulsion. You know what I mean? But anyway, I did want to test it and see if my theory was right that this would be none problems whatsoever. And I did test all of these soaps. Well, not all of them literally, but after cutting, I did test them and also cut one of them in two and all kinds of different ways. So I guess that's why I said I tested all of them because I cut them in like one bar of soap in a whole bunch of different ways and did a bunch of different tests. And yeah, there was no residual lye anywhere. All of the coffee grounds were completely fine. But anyway, on to that. Now that we're done with the weird stuff that I'm doing with my grounds at this point, what are coffee grounds good for in soap? Coffee grounds are good for one thing and one thing only: exfoliation. Okay, and now on to the pour of this, and we are doing this the exact same way that we did yesterday's soap. So we're pouring half of the batter on an angle, and this one has the exfoliation, the coffee grounds inside of it for the darker portion, and it is scented with a scent that will discolor. The top portion will then be poured using a separate lye solution, and it will not have an exfoliate or a discolorating words. Yeah, a scent that will discolor, and you'll be doing the little swirl that we did yesterday. Now, so with this particular soap and having the coffee grounds in it, like I said, the biggest benefit of putting coffee grounds into a soap is going to be exfoliation. That is basically going to be it and all, but it makes for a great exfoliation. Now, this is going to be good for something that you could have like at your sink for scrubbing down your hands after if you're like a cook, so in your at your kitchen sink. And so if you've just chopped up a bunch of garlic or jalapenos or whatnot, having a coffee soap there at your kitchen sink is really good for obviously not only exfoliating and keeping your hands nice and smooth and awesome, but it has the added benefit of it being it's a de-smellums, and so it will deodorize as well, so you can get all of those really potent oils that come from your spicy things and so like again your jalapenos or your garlics or whatever, you get it. And so that would be a good benefit. Also, a soap that is a scrubby is a good thing to have for all parts of your body, with the exception of your face. Scrubby face soaps are obviously a good thing. I do not like using coffee as an exfoliant for the face though, because the skin on the face is more delicate than other areas. And if you have these irregularly shaped particles like coffee grounds are, you're going to be more prone to creating little microscopic tears in your actual face that could then be not good. Premature wrinkles, all the jazz. Now, so this with my little hanger thing that I covered in the straws, I pulled it straight out this time, did the exact same process that I did yesterday, putting the the little stripy stripes down to create a feather-ish-esque thing going on in there. And now I'm just going to take the rest of the soap batter, top it all off, and give it a pretty little swirl. This will be C-popped, it will be gelled, all of the jazz. But what's going to come up next is going to be the cut of this bar, and then after that we're going to do the tests of all four of these bars, so you get to see just how much these have changed in like the 6 weeks that they were curing, because they are all fully cured and they're ready to test. Okay, and onto this cut, and this is so beautiful and shiny and beautiful and beautiful, beautiful. Gonna say that a million times, but look how shiny it is. It's so nice. I love adding any sort of lye enhancement that has a tannin in it for the shininess, and I'm a sucker for it for sure. Makes your bars look less rustic. 10 out of 10. Now for this soap here, I want you to pay attention, just like yesterday's soap. Remember how white the soap was when it when it got first cut. And this soap is what is also the same. Like the red is the red and the white is, well, it's beige for sure. But I really want you to pay attention to that while we are testing, when we show you all the results, because it is actually crazy how much these two specifically discolored. And I genuinely don't know why, because this particular recipe, this is the same recipe we used yesterday. So basically equal parts of coconut oil, olive oil and palm, but the olive oil is actually a coffee oil instead of just a regular olive. And the other two recipes that we did had the coffee butter within them or a coffee oil. And theirs stayed basically the same. The colors, they did darken up because I did use scents that were going to discolor. So I expected them to darken up. But with this one specifically, as well as yesterday's, I was not planning on any discoloration whatsoever. Like I knew that the bottom was going to discolorate again. Wow. I knew that the bottom was going to discolor because I used a scent. I think it was hazelnut coffee something. I think from Nature's Garden. I don't remember. Don't have my notes in front of me. But I knew it was going to discolor, so I only used it in the bottom portion. And I did not use a scent that would discolor in the top. So I don't get why it did this. I have made a lot of coffee soaps on the channel, and I've been able to keep the white parts white when I want to. And so I don't understand. I'm completely at a loss for this one, especially considering yesterday's soap I used the exact same scent, so the black raspberry vanilla for both the green and the white portion, and that does not discolor. And so I don't know. I'm thinking maybe the coffee, I mean, because the only different factor within all of this from my regular soaps that I've used coffee infusion within the actual lye, so brewed coffee in place of the water. The only actual differences was the coffee oil that was in the soaping oils recipe. So maybe that's the difference. I can't imagine why though, because let's go check out these tests and you'll see that these other bars, they did stay, white where I wanted them to be white. And let's check this out right now so you can see what I mean. This is the first soap that we did, and so you can totally tell. Definitely got the discoloration that I was going for with the actual scent itself. It's the tobacco vanille. It was to be expected. And so I showed you the picture of what it looked like originally. And this is 6 weeks after cure. First thing, it feels great in my hand. It has a nice bubble payoff, but the bubble is a little bit creamy and not at all slimy, which is good. Now remember, this is the coffee butter, so we have the shea going on. And this one is the second soap that we did, which is essentially coconut oil and olive oil. So coffee oil in place of the olive oil. That was the coffee was infused in the olive. And as you can see, the white part stayed white. Unfortunately, the really beautiful caramel parts, they got darker, and that's a bummer for me. But this feels awesome in my hand. I was concerned that this was going to be really not fun because it was going to be too slimy with 50% olive oil, but that was not the case at all. It felt really beautiful and moisturizing, but also had a nice tight lather, nice dense lather. Now look at this. See how much that changed? That is actually crazy. That's yesterday's soap. You see that? Look how dark it got. Again, with scents that are not meant to discolor. Like I have used the black raspberry vanilla a million times. It is never discolored. And for the actual lather of this is performing exactly the way that I would expect my basic 3 to perform. It does feel, it has a good hand feel to it for sure. But I do think with that 1 tablespoon of the coffee into the lye solution, it's not going to do much. The coffee butter, I do think made it feel better with the hand feel than my regular, basic 3. But then the same with this one. This one we just showed you this guy. And it feels nice on the skin, has a nice bubble, but I can't tell a real difference between this and what my, basic 3 usually looks like. Although I will say that lather right there, it is a little bit more dense. And once you work with that a little bit more, it does bubble up into a big, beautiful, yeah, that's pretty delightful. I like that. I would think about using that as like a shave soap with the exfoliation or as your kitchen sink soap. I don't know. What do you think? Which one of these do you like the best? Tell me in the comments. Yeah, so I don't know. Which soap do you actually like the best? Definitely tell me in the comments below. I want to know your thoughts on all of the lather tests. These are all fully cured bars. They were made 6+ weeks ago at this point, and so they are all ready to go, fully cured. They have stopped losing their water weight, and so this is the representation of what this lather is when it is all said and done. Now we will compare this to the lye with the green coffee solution. I apologize if I've been saying green tea. You know what I mean. We're talking about coffee. as soon as we get that video out. But for now, those are the 4, and I love them all for sure. The exfoliation for me from the coffee grounds, I love a scrubby bar. I really, really do. And this amount of grounds within it is a responsible amount to add to your soaps. So you're not worrying about, clogging up drains and doing all the things and ruining people's septic systems for sure. There is a problem using things like coffee grounds in that the end user might find it really annoying, and like a scrub at the bottom of their tub, in their, septic system, all the jazz. So do keep that in mind when you are working with exfoliants like coffee that cannot break down further. For me, I like a coffee scrubby bar a lot. I like scrubby bars just generally. I'm always a sucker for them. And I liked the lather on them. And as we discussed within the video, no, I don't have any concerns with residual lye being trapped up in the coffee grounds, because that's not how chemically coffee and lye are going to, you saw it. We talked about it in the video, so I don't need to say it again here. But yeah, let me know which ones you liked, which ones you love. Because of the format of this year, it's cool because the sudsers get to go along with it. And so they get to make all of their extracts and their infusions and everything, and then turn those things into soaps, into cosmetics, right along with me. So we're all retaining and getting that information together, becoming better soap makers because we understand the stuff that goes into our soap. And that's very exciting for me. And I know it's exciting for a lot of you. And you, the people that are excited about it, they're the sudsers. And so thank you for being excited. I make this content for you. For the rest of you, you exist too. Hello. I'm going to go. I am out of here for today. I am going to get everything ready for next week. Next week is going to be amazing. We are focusing on our cosmetics. So we are going to be doing some really, really fun things with leave-on products. And I cannot wait to drop that, but I have to wait because it's not time to do that yet. I'm going to go have a weekend. You guys have a good weekend. Do all the things, soapy things if you want, family things if you want, all of the things, self your care. And I will see you guys all again on Monday for another round of coffee, but not soapy, cosmetic-y, soapy fun. Bye.